If you could go out with one Villa player for New Year's Eve night, who would it be?
I don't know, who'd you?
Alan Hutton.
Alan Hutton?
Yeah, I think he'd be lively.
I mean, most of our local rivals, when they get anything against us, they seem to celebrate it like a win, which is not how I like to operate. It's quite a small time. But
sure, but
each to their own. Just a little prank there.
No.
Prank Sinatra.
Didn't see that.
No? Okay.
And somebody came up to Dan. I was like, oh, I love what you do with the Villa View. It's so good. Love the podcast. Love the podcast. I mean, I am literally half of the podcast. And Dan's like, oh yeah, there's Tom as well. He's like, who?
Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast with myself, Dan Bardell, and Thomas Julian on my right. Sorry that there was no podcast last week. My fault, because I did have the absolute plague. To be fair, I couldn't even get out of bed in the morning. I missed lots of stuff I was supposed to do last week, so apologies. It couldn't be helped.
You managed to pass it on. We didn't even meet up, but you did pass it on via WhatsApp.
Sympathy pains.
So yeah, basically since you cancelled the podcast where I was fine, I have since felt that illness. So I compared it a little bit to being pregnant in the car.
Which I thought was quite weird, because I'm presuming you've never been pregnant.
No, but felt a bit sick, a bit bloated, you know, a bit headachy.
Yeah.
I can sympathise with the women out there that have been pregnant.
I mean, I'm sure they'll really appreciate your sympathies there, Tom.
My wife included.
Yeah, so we didn't get to talk about the Wolves game. I mean, I feel better talking about it now than actually I feel I would have done last week, actually.
I'm sure this podcast will drag you right back down.
Yeah, it's a weird one with Villa, isn't it? Because I was quite positive the last podcast we did after Liverpool. Like, I managed to find a positive angle and go with it. They don't half kill you though, do they? Because then there's a lot of negatives to take from Wolves. So you kind of end up in extremes each week, don't you? One week you'll feel good about us, the next week you'll feel bad.
Oh, it felt very much like that, especially with the Man City. And we were talking before we started filming. You know, Man City, I really didn't think that we ever looked like getting anything from it. I know you said we were 0-0 at half time.
But you can tolerate that.
Yeah, totally. But we didn't deserve anything from that game. Then the Liverpool game, you get so close to grabbing something and then it's pulled from out under you.
I mean, I'm used to that kind of thing happening, to be honest.
And again, if you look at the game before it starts and you go, well, we're probably not going to get anything there, so that's okay. And yet we were so close. And then the Wolves game I just thought was really disappointing, because you don't see any of that great work that you've done to be close in the Liverpool game. Fine, you don't win it, but then to get absolutely nothing from the Wolves game, just very frustrating.
I mean, I want to describe it as we were tepid.
Yeah,
I think that's been kind.
Yeah,
it was almost like, it felt a bit like everyone was hungover. You know, they'd all been out there. Obviously, they haven't been. I don't think.
Yeah.
You've all been out the night before and you're just not really at it or with it.
Sunday League.
I didn't feel like we were with it. It felt like people were on a different planet, like not knowing what was going on around them. Slow and cumbersome.
Languid.
Yeah, all those bad words, Tom.
Yeah.
It just, we just never got started. I mean, Dean Smith said it himself, that we weren't at the races at all. We were asleep in the first half. And obviously, we've gone on about Wolves not being a derby, or I've gone on about Wolves not being a derby game, but it's still a clash that you want to win. You know, there's a bit of passion in there. Another Midlands team, you've got to perform better than that. You can forgive not being good. You can forgive like being bad and not being good, but you can't forgive just not turning up. And that was what happened in the first half.
I think take the Midlands thing out of it. Wolves are a team that are not that far away from you in the league table. They're a team that you've got to be looking at to go, all right, if we can't beat the Man Cities and the Liverpools who are second and first, we need to be beating the teams that are around us, and Wolves were there for the taking. They haven't played that well this season. Looked really good last season by all accounts, doing all right in the Europa League, but the league they've not been any great shakes, and this was an opportunity for us. I mean, the kind of, for want of a better word, the excuses started before the game even started, didn't they? Obviously, Heaton's out, so Steer comes in, which, you know, we've been very positive about Jed Steer on this podcast, so okay, great.
Get well soon, Jed Steer.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we'll come on to that. And then Engels as well is out, so Ezri Konsa, who, again, you've talked about being the ultimate replacement for Engels.
Yeah, it's a great replacement to come in.
He has his opportunity in the Premier League to really kind of make a name for himself. And so, you know, it's not a massive blow straight away there, and I don't think that should be an excuse that undermines the loss.
I mean, I said on Twitter before the game and the team news came out, okay, there's injuries, but, you know, this is what you have a squad for. This is what the replacements have been waiting for. Konsa and Steer will have been waiting for an opportunity, and we didn't lose that game because there was anyone injured.
Yeah.
We lost it because we didn't show up.
Yeah,
and that's unforgivable.
Well, yeah, I thought you were going to say more there.
Terrible timing.
I thought you were going to say more. But so you
How was that swig of drink that you just had?
It went down really quickly and it was quite hot. Jed Steer, you obviously mentioned, get well soon. Goes out very, very early, lands awkwardly. And then we see Orland Neeland, who I, for one, was not looking forward to seeing him play.
It was?
Yeah, well, so you and I have been on different sides of this fence for a long, long time. I thought, Neeland, not a good player, out of the Villa team and out of the squad. When he had his injury, it was a long-term injury. Unlucky for sure. He played probably his best game just before he got injured.
You wouldn't expect it from you, but you've got a bit of a dark side.
Yeah,
I think. Whereas I think probably people who listen to the podcast who don't really know us personally, I think they'd probably think it's me.
Yeah,
that can be a bit vindictive and has got a bit of a nasty side. But
I feel like vindictive.
Sorry, yeah, that was harsh. You've got a bit of a ruthless streak, and I don't think I like it.
Okay, interesting. I kind of either see things in people or I don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's wrong, and I'm prepared to say that I think I may have been wrong. The jury's still out.
You've definitely been wrong at points in the podcast over the years.
100%.
You said James Chester could be in the England squad. That was wrong.
I mean, he's been wronged by not being in there. Anyway, I've said Neeland, never a Premier League player, not even a Championship player in my opinion.
That's very harsh.
And he came in a difficult situation there, and I thought he handled himself very, very well.
Yeah, you remember it's nearly a year of not playing a competitive first-team football there.
And I think that space away from so much pressure has really done him good. It looked, obviously this is a very small sample size, he's only played once, but he looked so much calmer. He looked just much more comfortable.
Just astute, I thought.
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes they say that, like, when you'd have time to think about something, you're better? So maybe if he'd known he was playing and he'd had time to prepare, and the night before he might have, like, made himself a bit nervous. I mean, he's a professional athlete. Probably that doesn't happen, but do you know what I mean? Whereas when you're just thrown in there, you haven't had time to get nervous or be worried about anything. You're just in there, boom, and he's dealt with everything. I mean, it wasn't his fault we lost the game.
Yeah, no, totally. And David James is one of those examples that he talked about in his playing career about how he'd overthink things and he'd read things and he'd over-analyse all of the stats all of the time. And he'd said in at some points that cost him because he was so busy thinking about what other people would think about him that he wasn't thinking about the game. And I'm sure, especially as a goalkeeper, it's such an isolated position that affects people. Neeland had always looked like he had a mistake in him, and as I say, I was nervous when he came on, and I thought he did himself. Proud, and he did Villa proud as well. You know, it's a tough place to come onto, and like you say, he was not the reason that Villa lost the game.
It's a weird situation, really, because I actually really like. I mean, I'm presuming Kalinic is going.
Yeah.
I actually really like all three of our goalkeepers. I've got a lot of time for all three of them for different reasons and in different ways. I think they're all good goalkeepers. I think we're pretty well stocked in goal. I mean, you don't expect to see your third goalkeeper on the pitch at any point during the Premier League season, but he came on and he did well, as you say.
I don't think, we'll do a bit of an injury update later, but I think Heaton should be back for Newcastle, so I don't think we'll see Neeland.
Neeland said in an interview last week is 2 to 3 weeks for Heaton.
Yeah.
So he might not be back.
No, but all the reports that I'm reading are that Heaton will be back.
Yeah.
But if Neeland is back, and against Newcastle, that's another game where he can hopefully show himself to have made this improvement. I'm not letting him off the hook now and telling everybody there's a Premier League goalkeeper, because I'm not sure he is.
He said himself he thinks he's a Premier League goalkeeper.
Wait.
He did an interview in Scandinavia last week.
I mean, he is a Premier League goalkeeper.
No, but he said he believes he's got the ability to play in the Premier League as a number one.
We shall see.
It's good self-belief, to be fair.
We shall see. Wolves with the better early chances then. Jimenez had a decent chance, put it wide. Target potentially has a little tussles with Doherty in the box.
Absolutely racking my brains here to think about these moments so long ago.
Well, it went to VAR. VAR says no, it wasn't a penalty, but it's one of those where you think VAR screwed us over so many times.
As soon as you see the VAR come up, you just assume the worst nowadays. Yeah. You just think, it's anti-Villa.
Have you seen that they're going to make some changes potentially?
I didn't really get it. It does get what they were saying didn't seem particularly clear and obvious. Which is stupid in itself.
That is a perfect summary. And I heard it on the radio, and I think the introduction on the radio was, football fans everywhere will be so pleased about these changes. And it turns out they're just going to try and put more information on the machine, on the big screen.
I mean, Villa at Villa Park, I don't think they've got the screens working properly, because you don't see anything on there.
Yeah. Well, that's
anything at all.
That's the main change as far as I can ascertain, but we shall see.
So basically, someone's going to load a PowerPoint document onto the screens now instead. That's basically what's going to happen.
That's it, with a nice fade.
Because in the one game, the Southampton game, where they went on to lose 9-0, they showed the Bertrand sending off and why it had happened on the screen during that game. At Villa Park, you don't see anything. It seems to be different across the country at different grounds. It just makes no sense.
I guess...
I went on to talk about VAR too much.
Fair enough. Well, let's move on then until we know exactly what's going to happen with it. But Wolves, better chances, and Dean Smith said himself...
Better team, by far.
Villa didn't turn up for the first 45.
It was really disappointing because, like I said earlier, OK, there's a few injuries, but people should be coming in and seizing their opportunity. And to be fair, I mean, I'm not putting it down to the people that came in. It was a collective thing. Everyone just was off it. And for everyone to have an off day at the same time, it feels really weird. It feels like that isn't something that should happen, and something that... Every game, you're not going to get everyone playing 10 out of 10, obviously. To have everyone at basically 2s and 3s out of 10 in that first half, just desire and getting beat to the ball. Not many times during Smith's tenure that I've questioned desire and work rate, because they're like the basics of what Smith and his coaching staff want.
Sure.
It just didn't seem like it was there at all.
No, I totally agree. And this is it comes back to what we started talking about, the frustration. It's like you just want to build on what you've done previously. All right, it was a loss, but the performance was there, and it just falls back into itself.
Yeah, I was talking to young Liam Bryan, who helps out with our fan cams, and he asked me for a quote for his man of the match article after that game, and I was like, I genuinely don't know how you're going to do this, Liam, because I was like, I genuinely couldn't give you a man of the match. Like, if I had to, if my life was on the line and I absolutely had to give a man of the match for that game, I'd probably give it Neeland. Probably. I just didn't think any outfielder did themselves justice at all. And in the second half, which we'll come on to, it did feel like there'd been a bit of a rollicking, and it was a bit better. But it was... What I saw in the second half is like the absolute minimum I expect. It was just really strange and weird.
I'd say it's less than minimum.
We made a couple of chances, didn't we, in the second half?
In the second half?
We looked a bit more at it. The first half was just a non-event from a Villa perspective. And then the goal... So much wrong. Well, there's not so much wrong with the goal. There's one thing wrong with the goal, but it's just it feels like such a basic thing.
Yeah.
That you would. Why would you give Neves all that room? It's amateur. Not to have anyone on the edge of the box ready to close down.
Well, let's talk about it a second. Adama Traore caused...
That's a foul as well, 100%.
What, the Mings?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
I don't know whether you saw it. They took it from a different place. Did you see that?
What do you mean?
They took the free kick from about 10 yards further than the actual incident happened.
Right, okay.
Someone put it up on Twitter, which is quite interesting. Don't know what the referees, do they go out their way to think this free kick needs to take place somewhere near the vicinity of where the foul's been committed? Right. Because it's 10 yards difference there. It's not 5 yards, it's 10.
If we're going to not talk about VAR, we're not also going to put this this loss on the referee.
As a former trained referee.
The referee has got a lot to deal with.
I don't think you get around the pitch at the moment, to be honest.
Come on now. So Mings absolutely halves Adama Traore. It's brutal.
It's a bad foul. Yellow card.
Brutal.
We move on. It's a yellow card.
Sure. Adama Traore caused Villa grief all day, didn't he? He was dangerous.
Annoying. I think at the time when we made that decision...
he wanted to do against Borough, for Borough a couple of years ago.
Mate, Alan Hunn kept him in check.
Yeah.
That day, didn't it? It was annoying because I think Villa made the right decision when they got rid of Adama Traore. At the time, I think we all agreed it was a good deal. I'm so confusing to talk about Adoma and Adama and try and get that right.
Yeah.
It's a commentator's nightmare. And then Adoma, his first full season, was our top scorer. So I think we could all agree that we had a good deal out of that, because Traore just wasn't ready. Plus, he wanted to leave himself at the time. But I tell you what, Nuno's done well with him, hasn't he? He's done really well with him. He just looks a lot more composed. The key thing about Traore, I think, a little bit, is that he's actually slowed down. I think he was too much full tilt, full pelt all the time before, and his brain couldn't catch up with his legs. He's still absolutely rapid, even at half pace. He's just an unbelievable specimen. I feel like I use the word specimen too much in the Villa View podcast.
Usually it's about Mings, though, isn't it?
Specimen tends to come out of my mouth, but he's massive, rapid, strong.
He breezes past Douglas Luiz, doesn't he, for the second goal? We'll come on to that.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Douglas Luiz's performance, if I'm being fair.
We'll come on to that. So you've already alluded to it. Ruben Neves with acres of space to hit the ball. I think lots of people, they kind of discussed it on Match of the Day too. I think it was Peter Crouch who said he could see what was coming from a mile off.
I couldn't bring myself to watch that, any highlights or any analysis.
It wasn't enjoyable.
No.
Yeah, so Ruben Neves, a great hit.
Oh, don't get me wrong, it's a lovely strike, but it's too much time.
Way too much time.
If you give a player like that who's famed for scoring great goals from the edge of the area, he's done it a few times, he's going to score. He's going to cause you problems. It just felt like naivety of the highest order. Like, why is no one? I don't understand why no one in the dugout is saying to trying to get a message across to the player. Maybe they were trying to get a message across to the players of, oh, you might want to watch the edge of the box, lads. Why is no one on the pitch taking responsibility and saying, again, you might want to watch Ruben Neves, lads. He's got a good shot on him. Like, from the angle we're watching on the TV, because we weren't at the game, I didn't know that was something that was on and that was going to happen. But when you're on the pitch, you think someone might have the nous to say, there's a player free on the edge of the box that can strike a ball. Someone put themselves there.
Not just a player who loves it as a specialist from this range. I said to Hannah, who did not care at all.
No, it's not the person to be having that chat.
We were watching. I was like, this just sums up the first half. And she went back to her Kindle. She was not interested.
She was not bothered at all, was she? It doesn't matter to her.
No, it really doesn't. But it was just that lethargy, that just lack of, like you say, naivety, where we don't react. Ruben Neves is standing there on his own, can't believe his luck, and pings a great free kick.
I did see a few people on Twitter try to say Neil should have saved that.
Yeah.
I think, come on, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think two goalkeepers would have saved. I think he did very well to even get a hand on it.
Yeah,
he's got quite a big hand, but he's actually struck with some power as well. That
100%.
Accuracy and the power. He's done very well to control it, but he's got time to set himself exactly as he would like, strike the ball exactly as he would like, run onto it exactly as he would like. I don't even think it's naivety. I think it's stupidity. And I don't hammer us or say we're stupid and things like that very often, but that absolutely baffled me. I don't understand it. I'd like someone to explain that to me.
Yeah,
if anyone can explain that to me, please do.
And then like you say, it comes back to, you've got Smith on the bench, you've got John Terry on the bench, you've got a lot of very experienced defenders. A couple on the pitch, as maybe Conser's not experienced, but Mings on the pitch.
No, but you wouldn't expect the centre backs to be the one on the edge, to be fair.
No, but somebody shouting, like Mings is captain, isn't he?
Yeah,
get out there, do this.
I don't really feel like it's been spoken about. Like I would have expected. I thought it was a horrific error from Villa, so I would expect that to be addressed in the post-match. But it wasn't really, was it?
I think
we didn't talk about it.
Because
we talked about the general lethargy of the performance.
Yeah.
But that specific goal, because it's right before half-time as well. So at that point, we're looking like we're going to go in at half-time 0-0, despite playing really badly, and Wolves have wasted a couple of opportunities. Yeah. It again comes down to, and this is something we've talked about a lot, game management. It's poor game management. It's just so naive. Even I've just said I shouldn't use that word. It's so stupid.
Well, there's been a few questions, I think we'll get to them, about Smith's in-game management as well, and that seems to be a kind of recurring criticism, if you like.
I think it's harsh to blame his game management on the Wolves game, because you've had two subs had to be used for injuries, one of them your goalkeeper. Like, he's very limited with what he can do at that point.
Fine, but
in other games it's a valid question.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, we can talk about that a little bit.
Cutting to him on the sideline and he looked fuming.
You talk about those early subs. We've already seen Neelan come on, and then at half time Matt Targett leaves the field with a concussion. Neil Taylor comes on. Again, nothing Smith can do. What do you make of there's a kind of section of Villa fans who think that Matt Targett is a bit lightweight? Or do you like? I think it's medically down as a concussion. If you've got a concussion, you've got to come on.
It's protocol. Yeah. You can't. I'm not having that.
I don't think anyone can know, can they? I mean, he has had injuries in the past. There's no doubt, and we've already seen.
We saw him have the bang on the head.
Yeah,
it's not like he's just saying he's feeling dizzy and he hasn't.
Yeah,
there's nothing happened. There's visibly something that we've seen happen in that game. I'm not having that. I think that's unfair.
Yeah,
he was having a bad game. To be fair, I mean they all were, but he was giving the ball away. Like him and Marvellous were giving the ball away an awful lot.
Yeah,
way more than players of their ability on the ball. Because Target's very good on the ball normally. They were giving it away a lot. I thought they were probably the main culprits of ball retention.
How much do you think we missed Jack in that first half?
I mean, he would have given us a bit of composure. I think, but...
Do you think he would have settled people down? I
Maybe.
feel like he's done that in the last calendar year. He's really, since he came back from injury.
He's someone you can give the ball to, isn't he? If you're under the cosh, you give Jack the ball under pressure and he'll probably do something with it still. He's got that composure. There was just a lack of composure all round. Everything was rash, everything was haphazard. A lot of stuff was rushed. It just... Any bad trait you can say about a football team, we probably tick that box in the first half.
Yeah, and it didn't start off great in the second half either. Traore hits the post early on.
Can I just say I had a similar moment to you at half time. Andrew was preparing food for the week, obviously, while I'm slobbing around watching the football. I went in and I tried to tell her how bad it was, and she didn't really care either. So I was in the same boat as you from that respect.
We should have watched it together.
She was like a sarcastic, oh dear.
No.
Yeah, she was not bothered. She wasn't bothered by Villa's plight at that point. Time for new wives, by the sounds of it for me, yeah. Any Villa fans in there?
I would say...
Lady Villa fans want to slide in the DMs?
And not to my DMs, I'm all right. But
okay.
I think the fact that Ange puts up with all your mischief, I think you should go and buy some flowers.
Clarify that mischief basically means I go to the football. Nothing else going on there.
This podcast has gone sideways, hasn't
mischief?
it? Yeah.
Mischief.
That's exactly what I mean.
Anyone that goes to the football, absolute mischief.
No.
According to Tom.
I don't know how you turned this on me. Because you just said you wanted a new wife.
That's true. She won't listen.
Right, let's move on. Adama Traore hits the post early on in the second half. Wesley has a chance, set up by El Ghazi, blazes it over, which is again a bit typifying of our day thus far. Jota looked lively, or Jota. They say Jota, don't they?
I don't know.
They say Jota. I think he looked really lively. I thought he was one of the Wolves' best players alongside Traore. I thought every time he picked up the ball, Wolves looked like they were looking up and looking exciting.
I mean, they were pretty good all over the pitch, weren't they, to be honest? They had a day, but the fans were obviously really behind them. Big atmosphere. We know what they think of the rivalry. So they were up for the game, and I think Nuno spoke about the way the crowd galvanised the team a little bit. I mean, you wouldn't have known they played Europa League on Thursday and we'd had a week free training. You would never have known.
And I mean, I don't want to... I feel like Villa fans are trying to belittle Wolves fans by kind of over-exaggerating this rivalry thing.
I mean, the Wolves fans are the ones that over-exaggerate.
But that's what I mean. Villa are now taking it back to Wolves and going, oh, yeah, it's not a real rivalry, all this kind of stuff. Fine, but Wolves still turned up. I think that's... I don't want to hide behind any of this.
No, I don't think we are.
Any of the stuff that Wolves got up for it more. They were up for a Premier League game that they had to win, and Villa weren't up for a Premier League game that they had to win. Forget the rivalry. It doesn't matter.
The lessons learned. If you're not over for it, you're not going to do anything.
Exactly. And that's a worrying... Like, we can't take one game as a look on the season, but these are the games that we've got to win. I've said this before on this podcast, that if you don't get up to the games that you could possibly win, you're going to be around 17th at the end of the season. That's a worrying concern.
Wolves are pretty good at home. I wouldn't necessarily go into that game and say that's one of the ones you've got to win. Monday night against Newcastle, absolutely, that's one you've got to win in my opinion. But I know whether Wolves away, a team that finished 7th last year, is a game you've got to win.
Okay, I'll reword it.
I'd want a point.
Reword it slightly. It's not that you've got to win, you've got to play better.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You've got to play better whoever you're playing, like you say. I think what you're saying is true. I'm probably harping on about it being Wolves a little bit too much, actually. And you're right. You can't go into a Premier League. I mean, you can't go into a Championship or League One game with that attitude and expect to get anything. Yeah, it's just substandard all round.
It's right. What you're saying is right. So Jota, I've got here, ghost past Gilbert. Too easy, I put in brackets. Good save by Neeland, and that I just felt like was a bit of a Jota kind of moving Villa players around way too easily was kind of another signature.
That's because we were all over the place. We weren't organised.
Yeah,
and he starts from being organised, I think.
Trezeguet had a penalty shout not given. I don't think there was too much in it.
I'd have been upset if that had been given against us, so I'm not going to complain about it.
I agree. And then Wolves get their second goal of the afternoon. Traore, as I say, he just blitzes past Douglas Luiz. Again, far too easily, I've written in the notes. And it felt like Luiz kind of waited for him, but then was way off the pace because
was he on a booking? I can't remember.
Don't know the answer to that question.
I don't think he was.
But he flies past Douglas Luiz, squares it to Jimenez, who finds the corner. It feels like Wolves might have just messed it up. Jimenez takes a touch extra, but still finds a corner. Again, nothing Nealon can do. Wolves are 2-0 up and fairly home and host.
The annoying thing with what Luiz did there was, if he wasn't on a yellow card, and apologies, I can't remember if he'd been booked or not.
Yep.
You don't try and shove Adama Traore. If you're going to try and foul him, trip him up.
Well, especially when Traore is already into his stride.
You're just not going to stop him.
No.
So I just felt he was weak and half-hearted and probably epitomised the day. I mean, there was a few players who I felt were sauntering around a little bit, but Luiz was definitely one who I kind of thought, come on, get into it a little bit.
Yeah, it's worrying that you've mentioned Nakamba and Douglas Luiz.
Nakamba just had a bad game. I think it wasn't that he was sauntering around. I think he just had a bad game.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if both of your two holding midfielders are playing poorly, then you're in real trouble.
I really don't get... I mean, I think by the looks of things, Luiz has to play a certain amount of games. That's what I've gauged from what's going on here. I really thought when he came in recent games, he came in for the Liverpool game, no, the Man City game, sorry, and he stayed in the team, fine. I really thought that signalled that we were going to firm ourselves up for these big games a little bit. Two sitters, support, because Nakamba got overrun against 10 men Brighton on his own, and their midfield was swarming. So I thought, okay, Luiz and Nakamba are going to sit in, and we're going to be a bit more compact in these big games and be a bit harder to break down, which is fine. I think you should be. We're kind of playing him in this 8.5 role that McGinn and Jack and Connor or Lansbury, whoever's on the pitch, play. And I think in that role, he's the least suited to that role out of all our central midfielders. He's a deep player, Luiz, for me.
Yeah. How does he play for the under-23, the Brazil team? I
presume he plays deep midfield. I mean, I can't...
Because he loves a ping from the edge of the box, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I just think when he's played in deep midfield, I think that suits him more than trying to play in a more forward role. I think we've got players that are better at doing that role than him in midfield. So that's why, like I say, when I thought he came in the team, I thought there was going to be a little bit of change of tact for the Liverpool and the Man City games. I thought that was why he came in for Connor. But they're basically asking him to do the same thing that Connor does. I don't think that's his game. So I think that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, Lansbury came on, didn't he? Who did Lansbury come on for? I mean, I'm asking you to go back 2 weeks and tell me who he came on for, and I don't
know the answer.
But Lansbury came on. I mean, McGinn had an off day. McGinn had one of his worst games he had in the Villa shirt. But again, I'm not going to single people out. Because, I mean, I've just singled a few people out, actually, to be fair there. But everyone was poor. But this when Lansbury came on, he didn't get the ball very much. He was getting into the box and giving Wolves something to think about. Well, that wasn't there. I didn't think from anyone else.
Then does it come back to this game management question? So I've got it from Hot Diggity D. Do you think we need to develop better in-game alternative systems? It was clearly broken in the first half, and it was frustrating that we weren't able to adjust. Smith can be a bit slow to react at times. Let's come back to that question.
Yeah, I don't know whether that's game management. I think that's initial setup.
Right.
But looking at Wolves' formation, they too many central midfield. Yet we had 3, but you wouldn't have known that. I mean, their wing backs caused us problems as well. To be fair, they got 2 players wide and 2 wing backs. Again, I think El Ghazi and Trezeguet had off days all round. They weren't tracking back particularly well. So I kind of felt sorry for the fullbacks out there, because I really thought they were getting swarmed. Especially when Taylor came on, Taylor and Gilbert.
Yeah.
Taylor there was a lot of times where there's 2-on-1 against him. People slag him off. What's he supposed to do? He's got no chance there. I felt they swarmed us on the flanks, but yet the midfield, when the ball was in the middle of the park, our midfield didn't really ever get control of it, and we had the man advantage in there, in the middle of that park. So there was a few worrying things. Well, hopefully more than a few.
Yeah.
There was a lot of worrying things, but yeah, that game management thing, I always think from these kind of things, they know more than me about football. No disrespect to Hot Diggity D. I know him. Dean Smith and the coaching staff know more than me. They know more than him. They know more than you. So surely they see these things, and there's a reason. I always think there must be a reason he's not done that. The stubbornness with the system is the one. Would be my question. I would like to know why we've not. Because playing the 2 sitters, the 2 pivots, would have given McGinn more of a licence to get further forward.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. We seem to be 4-3-3 or nothing.
That's why it's great that we've got Dean Smith coming in on the pod next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
To really give us a breakdown.
I'd love to have Dean Smith on the pod, man. I'd love to. I mean, I did actually speak to him the other week, but I'd love to have him on the podcast and speak to him about things. As I say, they know much more about football than me.
Yeah.
I don't want to knock Dean Smith too much again, because I think he gets way more right than he gets wrong. But that's something I question as someone that watches football and watches us. I don't get why we're trying to play Louise in an 8.5 role.
And I think it's good. I think it's good to question what's going on, because not everything's perfect, and it's all right to question things and criticise things. That's okay. Trezeguet's consolation comes from a corner. No, one thing I massively noticed, there was no celebration really, but it was mainly because of VAR. People were waiting to kind of see.
I don't celebrate goals anymore.
Yeah.
Nah, goal celebrations are gone.
Yeah, forget
for
it.
me.
I saw, Klopp did it against Man City, didn't he? He was like, and he said it in his post-match, he genuinely didn't celebrate because he thought it might get ruled out, so he had to wait until...
that whole thing was just ridiculous. Like, the fact that something's being reviewed whilst the other team runs up at the other end and scores. It's absolute. What kind of world are we living in nowadays with football? It's madness.
It is madness. Trezeguet goal, good for him.
Yeah, it won't do him any harm to score 2 weeks running. Hopefully he'll go on a little bit of a run now. I don't think his geeing up of the crowd went particularly well. He was like giving it the big one to the crowd. It just felt like it was met with absolute silence, although I wasn't there, so I can't say whether that's true or not, but that was what it felt like.
It definitely felt like that on telly, didn't it? It was very...
Apparently it was a bit flat in the away end in general.
Right.
As well. It was one of those funny days, because it's never flat in the away end, whatever's going on, but apparently even in the away end it was pretty flat.
Well, there you go.
Bad day.
A bad day.
Bad days happen, don't they?
Smith said after the game, the game seemed bigger to them than it was to us. We were poor, and the players got a reminder of that at half-time, that they must win their duels and compete. You can't give a team a 45-minute head start, and all I took from the first half was that we were only 1-0 down. In the second half, we got a better performance, but it didn't take much to achieve that.
To be fair, that is pretty much what we've been saying for the last 31 minutes.
I love Dean Smith's post-match presses, because I always agree with them.
Yeah, I remember when we were coming back in the car from Sheffield United and we heard Steve Bruce's press conference post-match, and we were just like, what is he going on about? We've just been battered 4-1. What has he seen? And then, but usually with Smith, he's very, very honest.
I can't remember...
Refreshing.
I can't remember a post-match where I didn't... There may be something that he doesn't address necessarily, but he doesn't outright lie and say, "Oh, I thought we were excellent. Oh, I thought this and that. Oh, I blame on the fans or anything."
Very honest.
And I mean, he doesn't need to blame it on the fans. The fans are fully behind him.
I'm massively, despite the fact we're 17th and we've had a bad day at the office there, I'm so massively behind the lads, massively behind the manager and the coaching staff. I do think we'll be okay, but they do put you through the mill, and you do, from game to game, you do feel differently about things. I do feel a lot more negative than I did after the Liverpool game, obviously. It's weird. I'm going to put this pen down because I keep banging it on everything.
Like you say, it makes Monday a huge game, doesn't it? I mean, this game didn't make Monday a huge game. Monday was always a huge game. It's the Steve Bruce revenge game.
I'm not even bothered about that.
It's Newcastle, who are 13th, kind of surprisingly, and that shows you how close the bottom of the Premier League is.
Newcastle are 2 points off 5th.
Oh, yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, isn't it?
They've won the last 2 games, so this is what we were saying before. Back-to-backs are massive.
Yeah.
You win back-to-backs. It makes the whole season look completely different. We had it a few weeks ago. We beat Norwich and Brighton in a row. You win 2 games in a row, the table looks a lot better. You lose 3 in a row, it looks worse. I've said it's very obvious there. But you know what I'm saying. If Sheffield United are on a bit of momentum at the moment, they're 5th. But they've only won 4 games out of 12.
Yeah, it's pretty mad looking at the Premier League table. Norwich, Southampton and Watford on 7, 8, 8 points respectively, and then Villa in 17th on 11, so 3 points outside the relegation zone. But then we're only 4 points behind Newcastle, who are in 13th. So, like you say, you win a couple of games and you can jump up fairly quickly.
You know what's weird about that league table? No, it's not even weird, but you look at it and you can safely say now the top 4 is done.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in that order, but the top 4 is done. Man City in 4th have won double the amount of games of 5th.
Yeah.
Already.
It's weird.
That's 12 games.
It is weird.
It's just a weird league. I mean, that top 4 is done. They are all going to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, Liverpool, Leicester, Chelsea and Man City. Leicester, who I very astutely picked to finish in the bottom half of the table this year.
Did you?
Yeah.
In our predictions?
I don't know if it was our predictions, but I definitely made some monetary bets.
Really?
They would, yeah.
Let's dig the screenshots of that out.
Yeah, so that's not ideal.
Tell you what bet I had at the start of the season.
Go on.
Villa to win the League Cup.
Oh, you did, didn't you?
80 to 1, yeah.
And you know, with a potential winnable game against Liverpool, a very winnable game.
Liverpool. I feel like at Liverpool, they might as well just bring the old stars back in for that game. Because obviously the first days off, they should just bring the old stars in.
Do you remember when Sky Sports used to, like, early on in the morning,
Masters
play five-a-side football? That was brilliant.
I mean, to be fair, Robbie Fowler used to score against us every single time he played against us. They drag him out, get the old boys there. Robbie Fowler would probably score a hat-trick.
I feel like that's something you would have got up for, to watch the five-a-side on Sky Sports.
I've definitely watched some Masters in my time.
Yeah.
Definitely watched some Masters in my time. Villa were in it, weren't they?
Yeah.
I'm sure Tails played in the Masters at some point.
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they should bring that back.
Yeah.
Let's get that back, Sky. We'll speak to the powers that be.
There's so much rubbish on Sky. Get some...
Careful, man. my employer.
Yeah, that's not my employer. But yeah, Masters football, brilliant stuff. Get rid of the kabaddi. And
I don't even know what that is.
It's the Indian, like, they all hold hands and try and wrestle. It's very odd.
Is that on Sky?
Yeah.
Is it? What channel is it on?
Sky Sports 3 or Sky Sports Extra or whatever.
I mean, it's not called 3, 4, 5.
No, that's true. I live in the
That's all gone, mate.
the 90s.
No.
Anyway, there you go. Anything else from Wolves Villa?
Not really, no. Just upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah, let's move on then and look ahead to the Newcastle game. Michael Statham, what's the latest injury news on target? Jack Heaton, Engels, Steer, Hotter and Davis.
I mean, Steer and Davis aren't going to play, I don't think. The others should all be back.
Yeah, so... Steer, the kind of timeline to return was after the international break, but it was still very hazy.
2 months or so,
I
isn't it?
don't think he's ready, and Davis won't be until at least after Christmas.
From what I understand, the main three that missed the Wolves game, Heaton, Jack and Engels, it was more they didn't want to risk them than they are blatantly injured, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I would expect all to be back. Jack trained last week on Friday because there was a picture of him on Gilbert's Instagram.
Yeah.
So you'd expect, unless there's any setbacks happening, Jack will be leading Villa out on Saturday.
Yeah, Matt Targett should also be ready for selection
again,
as well.
It's the protocol thing, but it's been 2 weeks, so
yeah.
Does the fact that we're playing on a Monday rather than a Sunday, or has it already been 2 weeks?
Well, because we had the international break, didn't we?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, because it's 2 weeks, isn't it, the protocol for the head injury, the concussion thing.
I don't know.
Is the fact Targett, if the game was on a Saturday or a Sunday, would he not be able to play? But he can play on the Monday.
You're asking me a question I don't know the answer to.
I mean, it was basic maths what I was asking you, but...
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, it'd be 14 days then, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Saturday, then a Saturday, and then another Saturday.
So, yeah, but we played on the Sunday.
Oh, right, so 13
So I'm saying
days.
if the game had been Saturday or Sunday, he might not have been able to play.
Or is it game weeks? So, like...
Don't know.
What a great discussion.
Good segment. Probably bring that back next week, I would think.
If the Football Blogging Awards are listening, make sure you clip that one up.
I mean, to be fair, I think we've not won Football Blogging Awards when we've been good, so might as well try and win one by being bad.
Michael Kiernan, should Konsa start against Newcastle and leave Engels out if he's fit? Thought Konsa was our best player against Wolves. I might give him the nod.
He won't. I don't think.
No. Mings and Engels put it together.
They're the partnership at the moment, the two that have gelled. I think it would be not wise to break that up. Because you described that as being a good thing about our season so far, Mings and Engels as a partnership.
Yeah, 100%.
Even though we've let in goals.
Yeah.
You'd say that's a positive. You don't want to break up too many partnerships that are blossoming, I would say.
What did you think of Mings against Kosovo? He came under a fair bit of stick. I thought some of it was overreactive.
I read something earlier that said if Maguire had played like Mings, no one would even be questioning it. People are just over-evaluating, I think, for the sake of it.
He misses that early header, doesn't he, where he should get up for it. And maybe... I don't want to make excuses for Mings because I don't like it when people do that, but it's difficult to get up for a game like that sometimes. And I know you should never not be up for it.
I don't know whether he'd have found it difficult, because for him it's another competitive start.
Totally. But like he is caught off guard there, isn't he, a bit? And the I can't remember the Kosovo guy's name.
I wouldn't say he looked as comfortable as he normally does.
Right.
Like, he didn't have as good a game as he did against Bulgaria. I thought he was outstanding. But this game, he seemed a bit more tepid and timid.
You love the word tepid.
I do. I have to think whether... Once I get a word in my head, it just comes out multiple times. Like, he didn't... Like, you'd say he was quite authoritarian in that first game against Bulgaria. Like, he looked like he'd been there for years, whereas he probably didn't get that same vibe yesterday.
Well, Dave Mooney, Tyrone Mings, 5 clearances, first in the team. Tackle success, 100%.
Yeah.
109 touches, the most touches of any player. Accurate passes, 94th most of any player. And pass accuracy, 93.1%.
I mean, you read that, you'd think, he's had a good game there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like I say, I think it's been over-exaggerated. I think he was fine.
Yeah.
not going to be a spectacular performance against Kosovo in a game you've won 4-0.
Do you think he's on the plane?
I think he's on the plane at the moment. Whether or not he starts is a completely different thing. But Southgate might throw us all again because we didn't play 3 at the back leading into the World Cup, and then suddenly in the World Cup we're operating with 3 at the back. If you're playing 3 at the back, I'd say he's got a very good chance of starting because of that left foot.
Maguire, Stones.
Yeah.
Mings.
I disagreed with Stones starting over him in the game before.
Yep.
I thought that didn't send the right message, and that's not me being biased because he's a Villa player. I just think what Stones done to justify starting over him in that game.
Yeah, I'd
you maybe think it should be the other way around. Mings starting the first game and Stones the second game. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I disagreed with that.
Madison didn't start either, did he? I don't know whether that was...
He would have started the second game, Madison, if he didn't have a knock. Yeah. There's a lot of options in there. But
it's nice. It's a nice squad.
It's not comfortable at centre-back, is it, for England? You look at the midfield and you think there's a lot of options there. We've got form attacking players as well. The defence, Southgate doesn't seem to know his best defence, I wouldn't say. Stones gives me a heart attack every time he plays for England, and it always has done.
Really?
That's not me just saying now because there's a Villa player in contention.
Yeah.
I've never thought...
I liked Stones when he first came through, and especially in his first season, I think it was at Man City. I thought he looked really good.
I think he makes Maguire a bit more shaky as well. I thought in the Nations League game against Holland, they both looked terrible, and I think that's because Stones made Maguire more nervous than he should have been. Maguire looks a lot more comfortable next to Mings. And there's Tomori coming through as well.
He's
got a shout because whether you like it or not, if you're playing for Chelsea in continental competitions as well. First choice, Tomori, you'd say, for Chelsea at the moment.
Yeah.
Southgate's probably going to pick you.
It's a nice England squad, isn't it?
It's a likeable squad as well. I'm pleased to see Tammy come on and score.
Yeah, great.
Really, really good. He's having a great season so far. I'm absolutely chuffed for him. Did wonders for us, and people question whether he could make the step up, and he has. I saw there was a good tweet going around yesterday about catching feelings for a lone player is worse than feelings for a girl, and it's really true.
Is he your favourite loan? No. What about
Eric Backer?
Robbie Snodgrass?
Oh yeah, Snoddy's my favourite. Yeah. Mings was a good loan.
Eric Backer.
That was a little joke. First loan player that popped in my head. That says more about me than it does about anything that Eric Backer's the first loan player that pops into my head.
Yeah.
Not when we had Milner on loan, not Snodgrass. Not anyone else. Eric Backer. Yeah, good player.
Got to back him.
Good player, that's poor.
Didn't need to go there, did I?
Don't do it, you've let yourself down.
I have a little bit, yes.
As per usual.
James Wolford, should we gamble/splurge in January or stick until the summer? Not as black and white as that, I know, but if the right names came up. This, I guess, is kind of in... Well, I guess you can take it any way you want in the squad, but everyone's talking about a striker/winger. You talked about Giroud on social media.
Yeah, I like a bit of Giroud.
He's worth £7 million, do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, 32, 33, isn't he? But he's a very clever player. I think he's the kind of player that would suit the midfielders around him.
Yeah.
And he does know where the goal is as well. Giroud's just a player that, when you just like a player, Giroud, when it won't happen.
You don't think it'll happen?
No chance.
Why?
I don't think he fits in with the transfer strategy.
Right, okay.
I mean, you could say
it doesn't happen from a Villa point of view.
You could say Heaton didn't fit into the Villa strategy either. He's just a really clever player. His link-up play is so good. So, and where's his link-up play? Isn't there at the moment.
No.
We don't know whether it will be at some point, but at the moment, you wouldn't say his link-up play is one of his strong suits. Although he does like coming deep.
He does come deep.
He loves coming deep, but the link-up play hasn't been there for whatever reason.
So
at the moment, Giroud's that kind of experienced head that in a big game, and he's capable of the flair. As well, Giroud scored some outrageous goals over the years for Arsenal.
But then are we still missing a front man? Are we still missing a guy that's going to be there for the crosses? Because it's all well and good bringing players in.
Giroud would be there for the crosses because he's the big man in the box as well. He does a bit of both.
Right, okay.
He's just a player I like. There's absolutely no way we'll sign him. I mean, from what Greg said when I did the podcast with Greg, he said we're more interested in a winger than a striker. But Codger's probably going to go in January, I would say.
Yeah.
Davies has become a bit injury prone / I don't think he's fully ready for the Premier League. We need a striker in January. They'll have been looking at people. They'll have a list of strikers. There was someone we wanted in the last transfer window who I think ended up going to Milan in Leao. He was the striker I think we wanted. So we obviously want a striker. We just didn't get one. We need one in January. I think Dean Smith would say the same. I think Villa fans would all say the same.
Even if I think we said this last time we were on. Even if Wesley's banging in the goals,
I would still be saying the same thing.
We still need a striker.
Ideally, you want someone who can play wide and up front, as to not stunt Wesley too much.
Yeah.
To play some games wide, play some games up front. That would be the route I would look to go.
Yeah.
But they're hard to come by goal scorers. They're not cheap. There's not loads of them around.
No,
especially in the modern day. You know, this is the olden days. The days when we would have been starting.
Days of Eric Backer.
Yeah, no, before that even. The days when we would have started watching football, it was all 4-4-2. There was two strikers, so it felt like there was more goal scorers around. Nowadays, most teams play one up front. They're not necessarily there to be. I know it sounds stupid. They're not necessarily there to be a goal scorer. The main men sometimes in strikers, they're not all like. I mean, this is a terrible example now because I've just been saying about bringing Giroud in. But Giroud for France, he's not there because he's banging in the goals every time they play. He's there to facilitate the likes of Griezmann, Pogba. I mean, they've got so many good players.
Yeah, they do.
Lamar. He's there to facilitate all those players and bring them into the game. So nowadays, the goal scorers are harder to come by.
Totally. And in January, and if you're around the kind of, if you're floating around the relegation zone, which we potentially will be, you know, that you also have to attract the striker, and you either have to pay big bucks.
Yeah, January's not easy.
Or you have to take a gamble on someone, and that might not work. And if that doesn't work, then you're in real trouble.
That's what I'm saying. I'd probably like someone who is proven in the Premier League, because we've obviously already got a striker who we spent money on for the right reasons, and I stand by that he'll come good. He's not the finished article. I think we need someone who, in certain games, you can rely on that they're going to hit the back of the net when the chances come.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need.
Moving on, Villa on the moon. What did you make of Richard Dunn's Gerard Houllier comments? Did you see this?
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen this, Richard Dunn, former Villa centre-back and captain.
Deck Pearce's cousin.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Is it really?
That's why my life, yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
I might not just said it for fun.
I just thought that was some sort of Irish joke.
No, that would have been...
Brother with Chris Dolan or something.
They are cousins.
He's done an interview with the Independent.ie, and he talked about the moment that Ireland lost to France, that controversial handball, Thierry Henry, who knocked it round, and then they scored from it. And apparently after the game, the Irish team are back in their bus, and Gerard Houllier comes dancing in the street.
I can picture that.
So I got a couple of the quotes from here.
Don't swear.
No, I know, it's hard.
Say silly instead of the swear word.
Do you know what I remember? This is Richard Dunn speaking. Do you know what I remember? I thought about doing an Irish accent, but I held it back.
Don't do it, Tom.
Do you know what I remember?
Why even say that you were going to do it?
It almost came out. Do you know what I remember afterwards is Gerard Houllier skipping past our bus and doing a silly little dance. I remember that, and obviously he's French, but he was part of UEFA at the time, and he was very, very happy. I fell out with him a few times. I never liked him. I never liked him since then because of that, and he is the one person I've never liked because of it. Now,
so the ending seems a bit of a strange thing to say. He's the one person I never liked because of it. I presume it is the dance.
The dance.
There's no one else you're going to fall out with over that dance. There's only Gerard Houllier doing it.
What do we make of Richard Dunn and this comment in particular? Because to me, it kind of fits in with what Stilian Petrov was saying.
It's mad.
So if you've not seen our interview with Stilian Petrov...
Good plug.
Yeah, please go back and watch it. It's still the pinned tweet on the Villa View Twitter, and you can find it on our YouTube
Still one
channel.
of my favourite days of my life.
Oh, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And Stan's very open about his relationship with Houllier. But basically, Petrov is captain at the time, and Houllier comes in...
Don't spoil it for people that haven't seen the interview.
Well, this is just a tiny bit of it.
Okay, I know. I think it's quite a big bit.
Okay, well, Houllier comes in anyway, and he kind of gets frozen out by Houllier. Petrov does, but Houllier keeps calling him captain, doesn't he?
I mean,
skipper.
He is still the captain.
But I mean, now I can't spoil it. But Petrov's kind of... He feels like he's being kind of, I don't know, victimised a little bit by Houllier. And there's a smile on Houlier's face, Petrov says, which is kind of like he's rubbing it in a little bit. And this is kind of what this feels like.
There's been a few things, because, before any of this stuff came out, before we interviewed Petrov, before Richard Dunn did that video, and there's been a few other things in The Athletic about him as well, I would have always said, from the outside looking in, Houllier would have probably got it right. He'd have brought in some good players. And he'd have got it right. But by the sounds of things, the dressing room just hated him. I know Gabby didn't like him. Richard Dunn obviously didn't like him.
James Collins
had a strange relationship with Petrov. There was an interview in The Athletic with Stephen Ireland saying that they were training, and he was looking over and Gerard Houllier was smelling flowers. I It's like a weird situation. It's like a weird situation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you're training, your manager's out there picking daffodils. That's like a really weird.
He's like the opposite of Felix Magath, who's like totally nuts one way, and then Julio's the complete pacifist nuts the other way.
But did you see the Julio piece in the Athletic?
Yeah.
Because he actually praised Petrov.
Yeah.
In that piece.
For coming back.
Just saying, he liked him. He thought he was a good player, good attitude, knew what it took to be an elite footballer.
Oh, and this is what we talked, because Petrov never stopped working and eventually worked his way back into the team. But I mean, for someone like Richard Dunn, this obviously he could never shake this, and it's a massive moment in his career, and it affected.
Ask you a question here.
Go on.
Do you think, obviously, he's decided then before Julio's even took charge or anything's happened, from that perspective, from that interview, he has decided, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe he should be a bit more professional?
I was going to come on to that because,
Gazumption.
You have a little bit, because to me, Richard Dunn then says he got in trouble a couple of times with Julio and with Villa, and I remember that, and feeling like Richard Dunn might have been a bit of a bad egg and leading people astray. And so there's a chance that this works both ways. You know, maybe Julio is a silly man and winds people up, but also Richard Dunn possibly hasn't handled it the best as well.
Read the second bit of the story, haven't? Because you haven't read the second bit of the story. I think that's quite interesting as well.
So I got into trouble. This is Richard Dunn again, not me. I got into trouble at Aston Villa, and he called us in for a meeting, me and James Collins. He called us into the meeting, and we went in. But before we went in, James Collins said, "Whatever happens, don't react." I was like, "All right, grand." He started grand. He started talking, and he said, "I don't know if you don't like me because I'm French or because of Thierry Henry's handball." And if that's really true, then Julio is a knob, isn't he? We've used that word on this podcast before.
Is that an acceptable word?
Yeah, okay. My mum said it was fine.
But Pires was in the squad at that time, wasn't he? He was French. Did they just decide they didn't like him? I don't know. It's a silly thing for Julio to say. But maybe if Pires
is not saying anything. I don't know. Anyway, and before I could even do anything, James Collins was over the table going, "Shut up, you effing A." I can't say those words.
No, you can't.
You knob, essentially. So if that's true, and Julio has actually said that directly to Richard Dunn, then I'm on Richard Dunn's side, I think.
Doesn't sound great, players jumping over climbing the desk to try and get to the manager.
But again, it sounds like something James Collins might have done.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we've never met James Collins, but yeah.
I was always surprised when he James Collins gave his money back, didn't he? Where was he? Ipswich, and then he signed, and then got a hamstring injury at the start of this season, and he gave his signing bonus and all this.
I think he
money
refused any money when he was because he was about to sign for Villa, or he had signed, hadn't he? And then he ripped up the contract because he got injured on the day that he signed. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm getting it confused then. Maybe
because he played games for Ipswich, he didn't play for Villa.
Ah, that's it. Yeah.
He ended up at Ipswich after that.
That's it. Yes.
We had him. And he got
and I thought that was a real credible move, and I didn't expect that from him.
I said it's not about money; it's about. I mean, cards on the table. Got to be honest. I never rated James Collins.
Yeah.
There's not many players I openly criticise and really don't rate, but I really didn't rate Collins for some reason. Like my dad. My dad saw Michael Brighton. My dad had this thing. My dad's the most passive man you'll ever meet. I mean, he's had years of being beaten down by my mum. Absolute decades of it. So he's quite patient. He's a patient man. But if he used to really have it in for Mark Albright.
Really?
Really badly. I can never understand, because I don't think I've ever, except for Gabby towards the end, I think I've ever known him like openly like dislike a player so much. And Mark Albright was a really weird one to not like. And I always like to remind him, remember that, like, the only player you didn't like that was Mark O'Brien. Remember when he left Villa and went on to win the Premier League with Leicester? My dad saw him when he was out for breakfast the other day, and it reminded him of his wrongs, my dad.
Did he go and apologise?
Apparently my mum had a conversation with him, but she didn't know who he was at the time. She just struck up a conversation with him because they were in the queue together. She didn't know he was a footballer. She just started speaking to him. It could have been anyone in the queue and she would have started speaking to him.
Very lovely woman, your mum.
Okay.
That's it. That's it on that. All right, last thing I've got on my notes: the eToro football report.
Yeah.
You seen this?
Yeah, seen it.
You seen it? You read it?
Yeah.
Cover to cover?
Yeah, big time.
This is right up my street. This kind of football report, isn't it?
We should say that Tom said, "Can you make sure you read this before we come on the podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that, mate." Just as we're about to start, did you read that report, Daniel? No, I didn't.
This is very.
You're going to tell me about it now, and then we're gonna talk about it.
I just wanted to give you a couple of highlights from a Villa perspective. So basically,
we did some tweets about it, didn't we?
Yeah. eToro have done this big football fan report, looking at the pricing of football.
Gary Neville was involved. I know that.
Yeah. Basically, from 5 years ago, 2014 to 2019 now, and just how much football's changed, how much it costs. It costs a lot.
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
It costs a lot when you don't live in the same city that your team's in.
That doesn't help. But you'll be pleased to know that Villa fans, on average, dedicated Villa fans, will spend less over the course of a season on going to watch their football than the other 19 Premier League teams. You probably won't because you pay so much in petrol. But the estimated spend per fan for Villa fans is £1,605
per season. Is that going to home and away?
I think that's just home.
I was going to say that seems
a lot
steep for just home. That must be home and away. Although it seems cheap for home and away.
Yeah, I guess it's like I don't know.
Because your season ticket, my season ticket's 540ish in the whole tent, I think.
But then with food, beers, memorabilia.
Aston Radford spends that in one game.
Yeah.
You've seen what he's like on away days.
There you go. So Arsenal is the most at £2,238. The average £1,888.
Their prices are mega.
Yeah.
A few Arsenal season ticket holders at Sky, I don't know how they afford it.
Yeah.
Though they do get their European games included in their all cup games are included into their season ticket.
That's good.
But it's very expensive.
Villa also has one of the cheapest season tickets available, £370. I was interested to see Man City have a season ticket for £325, which I thought was interesting.
Kids at Villa, I'm sure, can get one for £100 in certain areas of the game.
Okay. And their most expensive season ticket, £684, is also one of the lowest prices.
Where's that? 684? What stands that in?
Don't know.
I would have thought where I sit would be the most expensive. But
what about the lower? Holt lower?
Is that a better view than what I get?
Don't know. It's closer. Yeah. Usually that's
Trinity maybe on the halfway line.
Yeah,
behind that's where Rollo sits.
Well, there you go.
Let's ask him.
That's why we've got no money as the Villa View.
Yeah, Rollo's spent some more and then left.
So yeah, I thought it was an interesting report.
Embezzler. I just wanted to get that word in.
Sure.
Embezzler, Dan Rollington.
Across the Premier League, there's been a 21% rise in spend on merchandise since 2014-15. Villa shirt was £48 in 2014. This one for your dad, really, and now it's 55, which doesn't seem like a huge rise, to be honest. That seems about fair. 55 is a lot. I remember when I was a kid, you get a shirt for what, 30?
I think you get a kit for 40 when we were a kid. Probably less than that.
We'd never get a Villa kit because they were white shorts.
That's true. The numbers on the back add to it as well when you're a big child like me.
But it was also, you used to get, was it £2 per letter? So you had to go with someone that had a short name generally. Well, that's what the Julians did.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that is what the Julian did. I think you had like number 3 TJ on the back of your
I said number 16.
Number 16, really? That's my number as well, 16.
I
like 16. It's my favourite number as well.
So there you go.
Matteo Berson's number.
The most expensive football shirt is £65.
I mean, this is the player version. That's 85. That's 85.
This is just replica. So Villa, you can get a replica for 55.
My mum and dad asked me what I wanted for Christmas the other day, and I said, I'll have the third shirt, please. But they've cut the budget to £50 for Christmas. So I was like, there was a 30% off deal somewhere. So I was like, right, maybe I can tempt them to... It was kind of £70 with a number on the back. I was like, maybe I can tempt them to get me that. They were not having it. No, so at the moment, my football shirt for my parents is at risk.
Can't you just get the shirt and then put the name and number on your back?
I don't think I should have to pay for it, Tom. I think Terry and Dave should have to pay for it.
We do a Secret Santa in my family, so you only get one present.
Don't mention that, because my mum and dad are trying to get that off the ground, and I'm not having it.
It's great. You don't need stuff.
Rubbish. I bet you don't open your presents till the afternoon.
We don't, actually.
Oh dear.
I don't think
to open them first thing.
When Alfie's a bit older, we'll do
Andrew's family, you have a kid and you're going to make him wait till the afternoon.
No. When he's a kid.
What's the reasoning for that? I mean, we've got away from Villa but fine.
I'm just not that excited about opening presents anymore.
What happened to you? Where did your spirit and whimsy go?
I thought we should end there, shouldn't we? Looking for
I want to know in the comments, actually, do other people do that? Because that's come from somewhere, because my family are trying to do it. My sister suggested it.
It's just, my mum and
dad were like, yeah. And I was like, no.
It's time to grow up.
I was the only person that disagreed with it, so unless we all agree on it, it's not going to happen.
I don't need to spend, there's 6 in my immediate family. Then
you've got a big family, there's 4 of us.
Two of my sisters have got fellas. I've obviously got Hannah as well, and Alfie, then there's several kids.
So Alfie I know he's not going to buy. I know he's not going to buy a present, obviously, because he's one.
Kids get presents. It's for Christmas. The present giving is for kids.
I like giving presents as well. So that's the other thing. I like getting my dad a present. I like getting my mum a present as well. Usually I don't choose that.
What about Laura?
I can take it or leave it. I like to get my dad a present. So if I don't get my dad in the Secret Santa, I can't get my dad a present.
Right.
Got him a big Villa coat last year. Loved it. I would not, and the look on his face, I won't get to see that.
Have you ever got him anything that's not Villa?
Oh yeah, for sure. Can't think of an example.
No,
I definitely have.
You definitely have. Just go through the Villa catalogue and get.
They don't do catalogues anymore. Those were the days when you used to get
Argos
the catalogue. Oh yeah, we really have got away from things there.
We've got a couple of things to say, haven't we? We've got a Twitter competition going on.
Oh yeah. Get the scarves out.
So we've got a lovely scarf
from fans'
favourite. So there's a competition on Twitter, isn't it? You just have to retweet. Is that right?
You have to follow the Villa View on Twitter and fans' favourite on Twitter, and then retweet the tweet. And then as soon as you retweet that, and you're verified as having followed both, you're in with a chance. You're in with a shot.
And when does it end?
Friday.
So make sure you do that. We'll put the tweet back relatively at the top of.
I retweeted it today.
I'll retweet it as well if I haven't already.
All your 3 followers will say that.
Thank you so much for that. Also, big mug.
I mean, this will be news to me because I've tried to find out what was going on with the mugs and you're keeping it secret.
So big thanks to Jay Morgan.
I think there's some embezzlement going on.
Me and Jay Morgan are making some serious wedge. No, the shop is almost set up for our mugs. So we've got 110 new mugs. The sale link will go up this week, and I hope that means that they'll be out and back. If you live in the UK, certainly they'll be ready for Christmas. Well, if
they're on sale this week, I would think you would get it by Christmas.
Well, yeah, but they haven't arrived yet. So we don't have them physically.
Oh, okay.
But we will have them, I hope. So I'm just working it out with Jay. Thank you very much to Jay Morgan for all his help sorting that out.
Thanks, Jay. Good man, Jay. I have a lot of time for Jay.
Good man. So they should be on sale this week.
I'm good. I'm excited for the mugs to go out because I've had a lot of people DM me about the mugs more than you would expect. Are interested in getting the mugs. Plus, we need some money because we need to buy some new equipment because Rollo's left us high and dry on the microphone front.
Yes, that is true. He's taken all his own equipment.
Yeah, so we really need to buy some mics.
We also are going to have quite an exciting week next week. I'm not going to reveal anything now, but there is going to be some big news.
Can I just say I'm not excited about half of what we're doing next week?
Oh.
Well, it's going to be hard.
It's going to be good, though.
Yeah, but it's going to be hard. You should be more worried as well, I think.
I think you think it's going to be harder than it is.
Well, we'll see, won't we? The proof will be in the pudding, Tom.
Anyway, that's a little teaser for you. So, podcast will be with you next week. You'll be doing a preview with Jazz.
I haven't sorted it out, but I'll be doing a preview with someone.
Yep. Sounds good.
You're quite slopey shoulders when it comes to previews, aren't you? You don't like doing the setup at home?
I don't mind it. I just need more than 5 minutes notice.
Okay, fair enough. You do the outro.
This has been a snipey podcast.
No, it's all banter, mate.
Make sure you like, subscribe, rate on iTunes. Make sure you enter the competition for one of these quality
So it's based on the Mitre Copiers kit, isn't it? Because it's sort of the pattern that we have not shown at all, the whole premise of the scarf.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there we go.
Very, very nice. Make sure you like, subscribe, review, comment. Do you like Christmas? Christmas is great. Don't get me wrong.
Which one of the present situation?
Yeah, the present situation.
What do you do?
That's up for
Anyone got any ideas in between the two ideas that we have it? But I'm not having. I know when you open your presents because I'm not having that. That's poor opening in the afternoon.
Kids get to open them in the morning. It's just family presents. Like when you go around your mum or dad or whatever.
Strange setup here. A lot of people do that, and I don't get it.
Let us know what you think of the Christmas situation. We'll be back next week and with some special videos. So let's get a win against Newcastle.
Please. Notice they win 2 in a row just as they're about to rock up at Villa Park.
Deeply unpleasant if we lose that game.
Peak.
Have a good week. Up the Villa.
We won't lose.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.